Hello everyone, it is Evan from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, November 18th, here with a market recap video. We are first going to analyze the current market environment. We're going to look at some other markets, some leading sectors, individual names, and then I got a bunch of trade ideas for us to look at on the long side for the remainder of this week. Now, getting into today's action, we finished up 1.6% in the SPY ETF, so the bulls really getting it done, and this really picks up and carries momentum through to the upside, and we started that upside momentum earlier this week on Monday. So if we look at where we've come from, this candle right here, this bullish engulfing bar that we put in on Monday was the first sort of sign to take notice. And of course, that was coming off of those all the tragic headlines and events that took place this weekend over in France. The market managed to, price it in or ignore those events and continue higher. And I think that was very important, just given how we closed last week and what, the past three sessions looked like with the sellers completely in control. Well, now you had a day that completely reversed it, engulfed Friday's action. And yesterday, I think, was a very big win for the bulls. I think this gave you your second clue, because coming into Tuesday, my only thought was, well, how much of Monday's progress can we hold on to? The market was rallying back into sort of this overhead level here that acted as support. So we expect it to be resistance right around 205.50 to 206. And again, this was sort of more or less the breakdown area from earlier this year, that large range that we were in. So coming into Tuesday, it was really sort of, I was expecting, like I think most people were, well, when you get this one-day pop-up in a downtrend, you almost expect, well, it's a place for short sellers to reestablish position. You'd expect us to maybe fail there initially. And granted, we couldn't quite hold on to gains. We did manage to close virtually flat on the day yesterday, and I thought that was a very big win for us. Even though we didn't make any progress, that was constructive. And then, of course, today, gapping higher and maybe stumbled a little bit at the beginning. Otherwise, it was a nice clear upshot today. And of course, that was fueled in the afternoon session after the minutes came out. The market did sort of catapult higher after that release. So I think, you did have some clues to kind of get long here, or at least cover up some shorts and not fight the market here on the upside. I think this is a nice move that we've had this week. So once again, we find ourselves coming into some levels that we would expect maybe us to have some difficulty at. This was an area that we stumbled on for a few days in here back in late October, and again we grinded sideways here just last week or so, right around this 208, 209 levels. So we'll have to see again how this market reacts to this going forward. I did see a lot of participation today. The internals, the breadth of the market today was much stronger, I believe, than Monday's, if I recall correctly, and particularly yesterday as well. They were pretty weak, the internals. So it was constructive to see some participation all around today. And again, we're above all these fast-moving averages. Maybe we have a very quick short-term bottom to work with. It certainly seems like that's the case. And we do have some upper levels kind of lying in the sand to work with. So again, I think this uptrend perhaps is getting back in motion to the upside. It's always tricky to jump on board, but I think Monday you could have done some buying, like it's what we did. We put on a couple of names on yesterday. I don't think we actually put on any new names yesterday, but we did take some profits. We took some more profits today. Continue to be long this market, not all in, but just looking for those tactical opportunities, and so far so good. So that's sort of where I stand. The bulls certainly in control right now, and if we look at some other markets like the IWM, this certainly is sluggish, not as as bullish as we'd like to see. We really want to see this screaming back above 116.50, exactly where it closed today. We want to see it get back above this area and start to really, get on motion to take out these highs here at 119. Start making higher lows and higher highs. Definition of an uptrend, and that's what you want to see here take place in the small caps. So again, up 1.7%, nothing to be too too down about, but you do want to see these get back in motion and start, ideally leading us, or at least participating right along with some of these other indices. The Qs here up almost 2%. That is constructive. It's up at this level here, which should cause potentially some pause. We'll have to see how it reacts to it tomorrow. But some nice strength out of this index as well. So that is the constructive part. Now, if we look at some other markets, TLT just kind of grinding along down here. It's got these fast moving averages still heading lower. It's been beaten up. It's in this larger term range. Still not too exciting to talk about. USO stabilized today. It has been beaten up here over the past couple of weeks, and we'll see if it can try and stabilize right around this $13 round number here in the USO ETF. Fast moving average is still racing lower. Looks like this is just going to need more time. You get a lot of supply up here that this has to try and work through now. UNG, on the other hand, is trying to stabilize. Not the best day today, but it is trying to put something together here. You can see the fast moving averages, particularly the 8 days, starting to flatten out here. So that is short-term constructive for this market, but it's been in a downtrend for quite some time. And again, it's still trying to kind of heal itself and repair that. Gold and the metals, these have been getting crushed recently. They're back below this 104 level. That's an important level. Really no reason to be long gold until it can start to clear back above 104. You can see how far extended it is still from these fast moving averages. Just an avoid for me, or look for short opportunities. Silver is basically the same exact scenario, maybe not as damaged, but same exact thing as gold. Now, looking at some individual sectors, there were a lot here that looked good today. I'm just going to point out a couple. IBB looking real good, back above 335. It had about 2 weeks of kind of this downtrend, this pullback here that it was in, and it made the pivot all the way down here right around 315 or so. So now that it's back above 335, I think that's constructive. That was a level that was pretty important in the past. Of course, we have this pivot high right here, right around 340 that, it looks like we're going to be testing perhaps tomorrow or so. But IBB certainly seems to be getting some traction, looking constructive. Industrials continue to look good. We've talked about these for quite some time. It's coming back into this area here, but that is looking good as well. XLE, now oil is trying to stabilize, but it's still in a downtrend for sure. But there are a lot of names that are looking pretty constructive here in the energy sector, and we'll go through some of those later today because I do have a bunch of them on my long idea list. So if those continue to, they're shaping up, they're looking like they want to break out from actionable bases. If they start to do that, this index will, of course, continue to follow suit to the upside as well. So keep an eye on that one. And XLK looking good today as well. Now let's get into some of these individual names. We'll start with Apple. We'll go through these pretty quick. It's almost getting back to where it gapped down from before. It's combating some of these fast moving averages here and this band of sort of influence that it's trying to work through right now. So it's starting to try and look good. I guess you have a level to shoot against here, a slightly higher low right around 111 if you want to be long this name. Still trouble, still just better looking setups out there than to be messing around with Apple in my opinion, but it could go either way there. Google, one of the ones that still are holding up near all-time highs, above all the fast-moving averages, looking real constructive here. Looks like maybe a retest for the all-time highs coming up soon. It doesn't look too actionable. Same thing with Amazon. Tough to get too actionable out of these names without a more developed base to take place, but so far the trend continues higher, so you can latch on to that trend, try and play for some more upside. Both of these names looking good. Netflix, this one a little more actionable just as it's piercing through this resistance, this band of resistance that's been in place now for a few months. That's encouraging. It's tough to chase it given the three very strong fast days to the upside, but this is very constructive. Looks like it wants to resume its trend and perhaps challenge these all-time highs back here right around 126 in the coming weeks, so keep that one on watch. Facebook, similar situation here. It's quickly recovering. It's trending higher. Doesn't quite have that developed base that would, get me more interested to kind of jump aboard. But for you shorter term trend followers and actionable traders here looking to just kind of latch on to these uptrends, these are all names that are certainly interesting for you guys to jump on board of. Next, let's look at Twitter. Had a nice day today, but again, this one's been beaten up as well. Still a tough own. I really want to see it to get back above this $28 level. That would start to get me a lot more constructive on it if it can start to take out this overhead supply level. But for now, trying to put in a pivot low here, perhaps work itself sideways, work itself up. Alibaba, similar situation. It's been pulling back recently, closed red on the day, but still pretty constructive, all things considered, given where it's come from over the past couple of months. So give it a little more time here. Maybe that one gets a trade to the upside. GoPro continues to get hammered down at some point 10% today. I mean, it looks like it looks like the trade of the day is always kind of trade it short all the way down to the circuit breaker, and then you kind of cover up and get long, because it's almost like clockwork. You keep getting these 10% down days. It's quite amazing, but this trend is still very strongly down. It did close near the highs of the session. That is constructive, I suppose, just given where it was earlier in the day, sub 19. So perhaps if we can see some follow through, close this gap, maybe take out a prior day's highs, that's sort of what you need. But again, still a super damaged trend in GoPro, as it has been for quite some time. And then Tesla looks pretty decent here. 3.3% up day. Nice day by the bulls for sure. It's came down here, retested, held 210. Last time we talked about it at the end of last week, how it was looking real poor, closing down around 206. Looked like it had a kind of date down here with this sub $200 level, but since then it has pivoted, came quickly off and back above 210. So maybe you do have a little bit of a higher low here in the grand scheme of things to trade against in Tesla. Still long-term messy range that you're working with. Now, getting into some of these individual ideas, CSX, this is one here. Was debating taking this one long. I didn't, but this one you can see here what we're looking at. It's trying to break out of this base. Looks pretty good, all things considered. 4% up day. Fast moving averages starting to curl up. Still looks pretty actionable. Wendy's, again, another name. Almost pulled the trigger on today, but didn't quite do it. This one, $9.90, this big round $10 level is probably something that this name wants to go retest. Really, it was struggling down here right around this 960, 970. Just didn't like the chase on a 4% move on Wendy's, but looks like it wants to continue to go, so that one could be interesting moving forward. PDCE, another oil and gas name here. You can see this one's trying to take out these highs, 61.50 or so. Looks pretty good, 4.4% up day. Looks constructive there. CRZO, another oil and gas name here. Not quite ready. We didn't get that strong enough close that we wanted to see. Really above 41 or 40 and 3/4, something along there, to show me that it's more certain getting going here. But you can see what it's dealing with, this band of sort of resistance, and it closed right in the middle of it, so keep that one on watch. And very similar situation, WPX, another energy sector play here, and this one closing right up here. I like this one, very well defined resistance. That's what we trade and what we really like to trade, these breakouts. So really needs to get back above $9 or so, and this one would probably be one that I would be watching. And then finally, ISRG, I did get long this one today. Look how tight this one's been, and this is a very volatile name. This is a name that typically has about a 7-point average true range, and you can see how compressed this has been over the past almost month, several weeks now. So the breakout, again, I don't love the placement of this trade necessarily. I like to be more near highs with not more prior resistance right above it, but given how tight this was, it couldn't resist trying to take a shot here. So we did get long this, and thanks to whoever posted this. I don't know, someone on the stream I think posted this yesterday that I kind of copped this idea from. So thanks for that. We'll see if this one continues. It's one that I am long at the close today. So that is all I have for you in this video. I hope you guys enjoy. As always, if you do, subscribe to the videos if you do like what I have to offer. And as always, thank you, and I will catch you next time.